Hello, welcome to BLP TV episode 8, where technology has well and truly kicked my ass. BLP TV 0, technology 1. And I can't even give myself any brownie points for the creativity because for you guys, I know this is going to be backwards. So bear with me. Hopefully BLP TV episode 9 will be just a dincy-wincy bit better. So guys, I want to be able to talk to you today about time management. For most of us, this is our arch nemesis. We can't wrap our heads around our diaries, our to-do lists, the appointments, the meetings, seeing friends, staying on top of work. There's just too much going on, and I want to be able to help you guys out. As far as I'm concerned, there are two scenarios or two types of people here. The first type of people can't actually manage their time, and the second group of people are just really, really bad at saying no. So let's look at each type of person or each category, and you see where you fit into it, and hopefully a few of the tips and hacks that I'm going to be sharing with you over today's episode will help you out. Okay, so if you can't actually manage your time, your best friend is going to be your GCal, your Outlook Express, your paper diary, and your to-do list. For me, there's something really romantic about being able to write in my diary. So I love to be able to keep up to date with my daily schedules, weekly schedules, and monthly schedules in a paper diary. And I will always have a to-do list with this. The to-do list will help me remember what it is that I need to get done every day to either go to bed that night feeling pretty satisfied and fulfilled, and to wake up the following morning feeling like I am organised and I am ready to attack the day. It's almost my sexy voice coming on. And it was just phlegm. Okay, so moving on. Your GCal, your diary, your Outlook Express are going to be the most important tools that you have alongside your to-do list. So these two items are going to be an absolute must if you're trying to develop skills to increase your time management. Outside of this, you want to be able to work in blocks. So there is no one thing that should take us 6 hours during the day to do that we can't do efficiently and productively in 60-minute blocks or 90-minute blocks. If something is taking you more than that, you need to do one of two things. You either need to step away from it, go outside for a walk, get some fresh air. Wasn't it Einstein or someone else who said that sometimes our best ideas come to us when we are not faced with them, faced with a problem or what it is that we're trying to work at anymore. So just step away from what it is that you're trying to do and take a break. If that one doesn't work, then you just need to park it altogether and take a much longer break. And don't be afraid or worried about attacking it the following day. Outside of this, you need to be able to create buffers or cushions in between your appointments and your meetings, because there is nothing worse than someone on the receiving end of your bad time management. For me, one of the things that I value most is punctuality. I can manage my time pretty well. I'm very pleased with that, but there is nothing worse than someone who is late to one of your appointments because they can't manage their time. So create those buffers or those cushions, give yourself enough time to get from A to B and come prepared. So just because you can't manage your time doesn't mean that you should disrespect those who can. If you still think that you can't manage your time and you need a little bit more help, I need you to ask yourself the following question, and I need you to answer it very, very honestly. How much time do you spend on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, reading the Daily Mail, any other online blog, or watching TV? Because the time that you spend engaging with those online networks could be time spent doing something else that would enable you to manage your time much, much better. So again, you need to ask yourself the following question. How much time are you spending on a Facebook? I don't know what that accent is. Sometimes have no idea what's going to come out. But anyway, avoid wasting your time on social networking sites or TV. If you are going to do that, please don't come to me saying that you don't have enough time in the day and you can't manage your time, because the time is there. You're just wasting it doing things that aren't going to support your development, your growth, or your flourishing. Outside of that, you also need to remember that it's quality over quantity. So if you feel that you need to dedicate 3 to 4 or even 6 hour blocks in particular projects over the course of a day or a week, you need to ask yourself, how well do you actually utilize that time? Would you utilize it much more if you knew that you only had half the amount of time? There's something about a deadline that makes us work so much more efficiently and so much more productively. So I want you just to test this out for a little bit. You've given yourself an hour to do something. I want you to cut that in half and dedicate the next 30 minutes doing it and see how well you work. 30 minutes uninterrupted of just pure work, concentration, focused. The Pomodoro technique is a really, really useful tool, and I'd recommend that you check it out. Another great way to go about trying to figure out and identify time wasters, time wasting portions of your day, is to do what is called a time dump. So every day for about 3 days, I want you to write down every single thing that you do throughout that day. So if your morning routine takes you 40 minutes, I want you to get out your diary and say morning routine took 40 minutes from 7 a.m. to 7:40. And I brushed my teeth, had my breakfast, got changed, put on your face, did your hair, and I also watched 15 minutes of Coronation Street. So do you see where I'm going with this? That 15 minutes you don't need to spend watching Coronation Street. And then throughout the day, I want you to be able to time dump. So identify what it actually is you're doing throughout the day, write everything down, and at the end of the day, look through that list and tell yourself what was really important and what wasn't. This brings me on to the next point, prioritize. So you know that to-do list that we spoke about earlier? I want you to be able to get a highlighter, and anytime you make your to-do list, highlight what absolutely has to be done that day, assign a very specific block of time to dedicate on that particular task, and get it done. Okay, so the second category of people are people that can't say no. The tricky part about the people who can't say no is that they sometimes don't understand when it is they should say no. They don't understand when they're taking on too much. For me, I always know when I'm taking on too much when my to-do list or the appointments and meetings I'm scheduled for myself encroach on my Sarah time. And my Sarah time is basically the time I have allotted for myself to look after me. It's my self-care time. I'm not going to be any good to anyone out there if I'm always running on empty, or even if I'm only ever running on 50%. I need to be doing the absolute best that I can be, and that's not always going to be 100%, and that's okay, but around 80% is pretty cool. And in order to do that, I need to make sure that I don't take on so many appointments that I don't have any time to look after myself. So how do you know when you should say no? Well, when you're looking at your diary and you see that you have some self-care time scheduled in, and you either take an appointment or you lose your Sarah time or your self-care time, I'll always keep the self-care time. It's really, really important that you're always looking after who you are. What good are you going to be if you can't even look after yourself? We've all heard that famous saying, sometimes saying no to someone else means you're saying yes to yourself. Regardless of what category of people that you fit into, I always encourage clients or anyone who's in the BLP community to schedule all of their time in either their online diary, so GCal or an Outlook Express, in a paper diary. Always have a to-do list and highlight that to-do list and their priorities in some way. For me, a highlighter works pretty well. I always schedule in some Sarah time, some self-care time, and if anything ever encroaches on that, I know that I've started to take on too much. I've been that really crazy busy person before, and I burnt out, and the amount of time I wasted trying to recuperate and rejuvenate when all I had to do was look after myself in the first place. I don't want to go back there again. So I will always protect my Sarah time, my self-care time. That's it, guys. If you have any questions, shoot me up at sarah@thebetterlifeprojectireland.com. Put it in the comment section below. If you want anything or have any ideas or questions or problems, challenges that you want me to talk about, again, sarah@thebetterlifeprojectireland.com is my email. Shoot me a message on Facebook. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the little session today on time management. Peace out, and I will see you next week for BLP TV episode 9. Here's hoping technology doesn't kick my ass that time, guys. See you then. Take care.